All right, welcome to another video from the chart readers. Hey, whether you subscribed or not, I don't say it enough, but thank you so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate your time, and I hope you're learning from this bad boy. So today we are going to look at EV and charging. I'll actually quickly talk about the NASDAQ as well, because obviously these are going to be very heavy NASDAQ dependent, right? But what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly to see what's setting up. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines, and then when we're done up here, we will use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Again, 80% up here, 20% is down here. So where were we? Look, this thing obviously has been struggling with the 20, right? I think that's the main story here. There were a couple little nice moments, but obviously a fail. There were definitely a couple nice little moments, but obviously a fail, right? Look, this is a good candle. I want good confirmation after breaking a line that's been such a struggle for so long, right? And this isn't great confirmation. I think if you watch enough of these videos, you should have an idea of what good confirmation is. But this could be arguably a doji, right? Almost an equal wick up and down. And look, the game isn't about, whether it's this or that. I want good confirmation so that there's no ability to second guess it, right? So again, I wouldn't necessarily call this a good break. Obviously, it actually starts up here and then closes down here, right? So, I mean, it doesn't even get over the line. Really, I think it was pretty much flat on with the way it ended. So, yeah, just overall not great. From there, this day, again, I want good confirmation up, not horizontal, right? And unfortunately, man, Monday, and again, we're going to go to the NASDAQ shortly, right? But Monday really was what turned the wheel. And then today, look, we lose 2 lines. We don't get the monster confirmation. We get a little bit more of a doji, right? So tomorrow is going to be huge. We're either going down, arguably, to either, what is this? Either 174 or 170, or we'll bounce back up and kind of come back into this 2 lines, right? So I'm not feeling good about it, but that's really what I see, right? Maybe we'll get another doji, I guess. But like, again, we're either going to make a big confirmation down because, again, we lost 2 lines, or we're going to come back up and kind of move horizontal with these 2, right? Looking at the weekly here, again, this is not a good weekly chart. You want to buy something that's at least over the 8 on the weekly if you're a short-term trader, right? If you're a long-term trader, believe me, you want to be looking at the monthly, right? If you're a long-term, go to the monthly, make sure you're well above the lines. You're not even over these lines, right, on the monthly. That's not a good thing, right? So again, if you're long, you're doing a little bit different. But in my book, at least get over the 8 on the weekly so that you can have some good expectations for your daily, right? So again, not looking good. Before I go to forward, let me just real quickly talk about the NASDAQ composite, okay? We've been really trying to get over this 100, okay? Happened almost here. Good little bounce to try it again. Definitely pretty devastating the last couple days, right? We only have 1 line because, again, with these ones, even on this fail right here, we at least had 2, okay? On this up here, we've now lost these 2 and only have 1. This right here is my death line. This is one of my manual horizontal ones. It just so happens to be red instead of the normal white color, right? So, yeah, if we lose the 50 on the NASDAQ, that's going to be horrible for really all these stocks in our EV and charging world. Okay, where's Ford? Look, I know this looks real bad immediately, but let me just zoom out. Ford made a real nice move up. You know what I mean? So there were a couple places where I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. You know that. But once this goes up, this starts to horizontal, and you've heard me say it a bunch of times. I don't like trading in horizontal because one of 2 things happens. Either you violently spit up, and that's a good thing, obviously, or what kind of looks like is happening here, you violently spit down, right? So still plenty of profit from when we really called Ford a good stock. But again, you can see what happens. And I'm telling you, in my book, I would ride as much as I can. Once it starts to horizontal, just get out. Because, hey, even if you sold at the very bottom, even if you didn't catch the ride back up, getting somewhere around here, right? Because this is the good 8 break. So hopefully you got in one of these days, even if you got it on this day, right? Beginning of this one, right? From here to here is a lot of up, right? Don't underestimate a good percentage, right? I know everyone wants to hit the rocket. Everyone wants that, like, believe me, I want them too. I see them on my Webull, right? You get something in the 100% today, 75% yesterday, right? Like, I've seen these. I've seen the 400s in one day. They're silly numbers. That's not what we're chasing. We're not here looking for that one big score to tell our friends for the rest of our lives, right? No, we're looking for good, consistent trading that makes life easier. Believe me when I say that. So, Ford, again, there was plenty of reason to get out because we don't like horizontal trading if you watch these videos, and it now looks like we're going down, right? We actually have a death cross here and here. We like it when the little ones go up. We do not like it when they go down, right? And we're now kind of going down. That's a real ugly MACD, kind of going back to that zero line. That's a real ugly RSI because look, it was tight here, but now it's clearly kind of going down, right? And look, volume has been well under the 50 average, right? This is the last 50 days. The average trading was up here in the 60 millions. We were roughly down here in the 40 millions, right? That's a quick 30% drop, right? 20, you just lost 20, right? So, yeah, you want good volume. And I didn't even know that was the day we were testing the 100. I swear, the 200, I swear. But yeah, you want monster volume to break the line, right? You don't want 20% less than the last 50 days, right? That's not good. So, yeah, again, Ford not looking good, but hey, I actually hope you did good things on that write-up. Not that this is financial advice, of course. I'm not going to tell you when to buy, when to sell, or any of that, right? So, but yeah, hopefully Ford potentially was okay for you. Again, what are we looking at the weekly, right? There was definitely a number of weeks this was over the 8, and that was beautiful. We lose the 20 here, definitely get a little worried, right? But then, yeah, for sure we're now worried. Look, it's only Tuesday. Maybe some stuff can happen end of this week, but yeah, we're well under the 8, and it looks like we've given real good confirmation that we lost the 20, right? So, and again, that slap down of the 100 here, the exact same slap down that we saw on the NASDAQ, right? The 200 slap down's bad, the 100 slap down's bad, right? Those are our last two. So, Ford looks like it's over, but again, there was a good amount of profit between the first kind of bullish flag on it. Okay, MULN, again, I am not here to bash any single stock. I have made money on MULN when it was good. Once MULN becomes good again, look, I'm never going to tell you when I buy, but I like MULN, and believe me, this thing has 100 million volume for something that's never even produced a thing, right? Hey, if it has, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like pretend I'm a genius here, right? But I'll tell you, I don't see no MULN cars driving down LA, right? Like, and I live in LA. It's not like I'm in a rural area, right? So I would see some MULNs driving around, right? Nonetheless, look, there has been no great moment to buy since this single run right here, right? Again, we lose the 8 right here. Rule number 1 is just get over the line. I'm telling you, it sounds so simple, but it's really hard to do if it's in a real bad downtrend, right? So once we're above it, things are great. Once we lose it, it's bad. It wants to break it, but that's definitely bad confirmation. All we're doing is going horizontal before we drop, right? Again, good intraday pops. I understand that, right? Roughly speaking, this goes from 20 to 24, which is a 20% bump, right? Every 2 cents is 10%. So you see a 20% and you get excited. But look, someone bought up here at 24 and is sitting at 19 right now. That is not good, right? And again, when I say I'm bearish on MULN, it's not because, I enjoy being a bear on this thing. That's not my goal, right? It's just, look, get over the 8 and I'll say some good things like I do with every other stock, right? These are just 4 letters. I promise you. I really don't, they're either 3 letters or 4 letters. And hey, sometimes with Ford, they're 1 letter, right? It all becomes such a blur and a blend with technical analysis. And that's kind of a good thing in all honesty, right? But yeah, MULN, there has not been a single buy moment in a long time. And look, again, on the weekly, right? Just, this was the only week it was over the 8. And again, hard confirmation that no, we were nowhere ready to do that. And then look how far back. I mean, it's been a while. right? It's been a while. So again, there's been zero reason to believe in MULN just yet. And hey, the second it tells me to believe it, I will, because I know what 100 million volume can do, right? I mean, look, what's the next one? LIDR is what we're about to look at. I'm going to come back to MULN, but LIDR, what are you at? 620,000. Okay, it's a relatively big number, right? Hey, I'd love that to be my bank account. It's not right now. But again, MULN is exponential of that, right? I mean, that's roughly speaking 500,000. This is 100 times more than a million, right? So MULN, when it wants to fly, it will. Otherwise, it's just going to keep giving us all-time lows. And I promise you, and I've said this on so many different stocks, it sounded like a really good deal at 40 cents. And then it sounded again like a really good deal around 33 cents. And then we had enough time to buy it at 30 cents, which sounded like such a good deal. Oh man, now it's 25 cents. That sounds like such a good deal. 20 cents does sound like a good deal, but hey, I think 9 or 10 cents might also sound like a good deal, unless we get over the line, all right? Again, I'm not here to hate. I'm just giving you my humble opinion and point of view. LIDR, man, again, LIDR, I really thought that, and I mentioned it, we had a pop, a drop, and what looked like would have been a real nice pop, but just really couldn't get over this 110 line, And hey, I say it, right? I always go with the moving averages first. Once you have enough gap, or once you're trading above them, you kind of have to put a little more emphasis into the lines, and knock on wood, we're drawing some good lines, right? But yeah, that makes sense. That was the bottom of that guy before a nice uptrend, right? So yeah, that's going to be a decent resistance. And man, if we could have got a good confirmation, again, we break 2 lines right here. I'm expecting a good 2-line confirmation, not somewhere down here, followed obviously by that. This one was horrible, right? But now we're under the 8, under the 50, seeming like we're going to come down to the 20. It'd be really bad if we lost the 20, right? Do I need to draw some new lines? I do. And are we coming back to all-time lows, LIDR? Don't do that. Oh, don't do that, LIDR. Let's see. We got to go to the weeklies to see. Yeah, we for sure are. Damn, that's sad. Again, look, I've said this a couple times. There are now a number of companies that are going to try to make their own LIDR, 3D vehicle driving thing, right? So unless this thing actually is the best, you got to believe they're going to want to make an in-house one instead of paying someone else, right? So, and again, super low volume. We did talk about it earlier. Definitely one beautiful spike, but hey, I need follow through, right? And I talk about it. When you get a monster volume spike and then they just like pull the rug right under you, it's not a good thing. You know what I mean? But it almost did a nice bounce here. A pop, drop, and pop is a pretty good setup, but just couldn't make that second pop work. So look, this thing wanted to be over the 8, right? And again, it started with that big monster day. These aren't bad technicals down here, don't get me wrong, but I say it, 80% of the work is up here, right? And I feel like I need better confirmation that we're over the 8, honestly. So this was a good single week. This was a real bad confirmation next week, and then obviously behind that's even worse, right? So I'm not convinced we've taken the 8 on the weekly, and like I said, if you don't have a good weekly, that means you're gonna have a bunch of bad dailies, right? That's how math works. So EVGO again. Oh wow, hey, volume is a little higher than I expected. Sadly, it's a lot of selling, right? And again, EVGO is one of those things that we talked about where look at how tight it was. All 5 of the lines are right here too, right? So again, you go in a horizontal, and you either violently go up, which is a good thing, or you violently go down, and that's a sad thing, right? So, and look, this thing really happened around 8. We're sitting in the high 5s, right? I mean, we're close to a 50% loss. When I say violent drops down and violent drops up, I'm not exaggerating, right? I've seen them, right? So, yeah, I'm zooming out a little too much. I don't know why I'm doing that. But yeah, where are we? Obviously, we're just going under the 8, gonna start struggling to get over the 20, right? So, these are one of the places where you can almost even say the rule number 1 of get over the 8 doesn't matter anymore. Let's put our money in over the 20, right? Because look, struggle to get over, struggle to get over. Obviously, we're going to play around with this 8, but ultimately this 20 is going to be our next like real hard wall, right? So in these situations, I hope you've seen it enough where this might become the safest place to enter instead of what usually is the 8, right? But yeah, bad MACD, bad RSI, and a lot of volume, but a lot of it was selling, right? So yeah, be careful here. You know, it happens with the clusters, right? And look, horizontal for a long time, came real close to the 8, and then a violent fail of it, right? So definitely a very bad weekly, and you know me, right? We want to get a good weekly so we get a good daily. I know it's repetitive, but it's hopefully ingraining in your head. Okay, so NIO and then Lee is going to be the next one. I mentioned this the last time we made this video, okay? There was a real interesting run with Chinese stocks, okay? I'm not here to give you any political opinions. I'm not here to give you we're not talking about China versus America versus, you know, this or that kind. I don't care, right? We're talking about money, stock market, and charts. That's it, okay? If you see Chinese stocks run, they're going to run together and they're going to run wildly. However, they will fall and it will happen on a dime. So just I'm always extra cautious with Chinese stocks. However, there's silly money to be made when they run, okay? So that said, there's a few really interesting happenings. Okay, first off is a golden cross right here from the first break of the 50, right? Obviously, we need good confirmation, doesn't happen. But hey, look, two decent things. We're near 50% candle, and hey, we at least didn't plummet from the 50, right? We stayed. From there, hey, nice, I'll take this. This is another break attempt. I want good confirmation. Again, this isn't great confirmation, but look, between these three, I'm glad it finished up here versus the finish down here. Okay, between the three, that's good for me. Again, I still need the confirmation. This isn't great, but hey, one more time, this finished above this, right? I like that. I like that as each day is good, it does better, and as each day is bad, there's no crazy signs, right? We're well above 50%, and hey, we actually started up here. It gapped up, but unfortunately, it crashed. It couldn't keep running up, right? But there was a gap up in the morning from 13.25 to 14. That's pretty nice, right? So, and then look, you can clearly see it. I don't even have to draw a line. There's a little baby uptrend forming, and hey, one more good day and we'll get a golden cross right there, right? So, there's some decent space between the 50 and the 100, right? So there's a nice little downtrend right here as well. This right here might be the next little resistance between where we're at. And honestly, this line seems like it's pretty far out. Where is this thing from? Yeah, I'm going to actually go ahead and delete this single line, and I'm going to put that line. I am, because at this point, again, we're right here. We've crossed this doji. We're now basically filling that gap right there. This should be the cross, and then look, that's pretty much the 100, right? But yeah, I mean, all things considered, this is relatively bullish, right? Chinese stocks, if the volume is there, it'll hit. Believe me when I say that, right? Again, this is a good weekly, right? Couple days down, but hey, I'm glad we're still above last week. We're at least up here versus being down here or even down here, right? So I'm still relatively okay here. And again, believe me when I say it, if the volume's there, it's gonna go up. There were some silly percentages today on what was an overall bad market, right? And a lot of them were these companies from overseas, for me at least, right? So again, I am not here to give you my political opinions. I really have very few of them, right? I'm here to make money and leave and then be happy afterwards, right? So NIO. Again, Lee, the exact same comment, so I'm not going to say it, but look, you can see a lot of it, right? Nice break of the 50. I want good confirmation, right? This wasn't quite it. I'm real glad we at least finished up here instead of here, right? All of these days have been over the 50, which I do like already, right? From here, again, we go down a little bit. Look, it wanted to gap up as well, but hey, we're still well above 50%. I like that. And look, I even think, yeah, we never even lost the high. Yeah, this thing closed at 22. This thing closed at 22.11. So we're still over this day on the gap up. And hey, where are we? We're about 50% of this red right here, and we're still higher than this green. I'm happy here. I am. And look, we're about a trading day away from another golden cross. 20 is about to cross up on the 50, right? So again, if NIO does well, Lee will do well, and vice versa. And trust me, if Lee does well, so will a lot of Chinese companies, right? So just be on the lookout for that. And hey, look, a big point of trading is finding patterns not just in charts, but like in life, right? If you are seeing a few Chinese stocks go, hey, go outside of this EV sector, find a couple other random tickers that you might not know, but put them on your watch list, set up your indicators, whatever they might be, either a mimic of this or something better or whatever, a combo of both, and do your magic, right? That's the name of the game. But yeah, a lot of comments with Lee and NIO being the same. Beautiful. And hey, we're actually already testing the 20 here, right? NIO was not quite testing the 20, so just a little interesting difference there. Polestar. We are coming to Polestar. Sorry, I'm still on the weekly. Let's start on the daily, right? So look, Polestar, look, this is very much like NIO, okay? I mean, like NIO, sorry. This is very much like MULN. Okay, 4 million volume when things are coming down, but look, how high was this thing? This thing hit 16 million right before a good little uptrend, right? And on that uptrend, you can see we were pretty much over the 50 average that entire ride, right? That's why I've added volume, right? And when I added volume, I automatically got this line. So on this day, the 50 days back, we were averaging about this, right? Some days we're up here, some days we're down here, we averaged here, right? So it's good being over. It's good when you have a bunch of green days over. That means more people are buying. Unfortunately, we've had a bunch of volume, even kind of right here, right? That's either been under it or just on it, and now we're just getting a bunch of selling. And look, it pretty much mirrors right when we lose the 8, right? And you can arguably say that there is a horizontal cluster forming. It's not tight. So unless we can bounce off the 50 and really make it a cluster, we're about to lose the 50 and keep dropping. And if we lose this thing, right, which is pretty much on the 50, we're gapping down here. So be careful here. Definitely, man, this is worrisome because honestly, that's an ugly MACD and RSI. They are both very, almost violently, you would say, kind of diverging, right? They're going away from the red line. It looks like green wants to keep going. This one especially, red wants to stay up here and green wants to go. So Polestar, be careful here for sure. Look, again, good weeks of up. Then you're starting to get a couple weeks of down, right? And again, this one's going to be a lot like the NASDAQ. I'm going to just go to the comp Q one more time. Let's take a look at the last 2 weeks. Again, the last 2 weeks on the NASDAQ and really overall the last couple months on the NASDAQ have been very horizontal, right? October through December, right? So, yeah, the last 2 weeks, again, it would have been beautiful if the NASDAQ broke the 20 and ran up. I mean, it would have crushed it for Polestar, right? It really would have. Because if it did that, this wouldn't have come down. This would have gone up huge, right? It's kind of like what I say in my rule number 1 of the golden trading. You can crush the market. If the market went up just a little bit, this would have flown, right? This thing just went horizontal and it went down. And then this week going bad makes this even worse, right? So just, again, be careful. But Polestar not looking great. Couple more left. This has definitely grown as we've added some, and this was one of the newer ones that we've added. So NKLA, look, NKLA, it's not a tight cluster, right? But it was definitely trying to get over the 20. And as we zoom out, and we've seen it on so many stocks, we talked about it a little bit here, right? Getting over the 20, it becomes very difficult. Obviously, it's struggling just to get over the 8, and I can easily talk about the 8, right? But look, here's the first break of the 20, but definitely doesn't hold it. Here's another little baby one, but obviously doesn't hold it. Here's another one, but it kind of looks like it's not going to hold. This 20 is no joke, right? And I say it often, when you're in a downtrend, I know rule number 1 is get over the 8, but generally rule number 1, get over the 8 is kind of on an uptrend, right? Maybe make it the 20. And I know it's going to sound like you're going to give up a little profit, but you're actually not. You're going to end up making your criteria a little higher. and hopefully it'll save you money, right? And look, it's like what we talked about. If you got out early enough, right? I mean, I'm not talking about when to buy and sell, right? But if you got out in the high fours, you can literally buy almost double the amount of shares for when you were to here, right? And hey, would anyone really know how far it's going to go and stuff like that? No, but if you see a downtrend, right? I mean, you know, I'm going to make a video about averaging up and averaging down over the weekend. I think that's my plan, but averaging down gets very deadly, right? I promise you that. I've lost some good money. And look, we are closing in on all-time lows, right? If we go below this guy right here, that is not going to be good. I'm actually going to go ahead and lower this line just to down here. I probably should have seen what that was on the daily before I did that. But nonetheless, yeah. And look, at this point, really, I'm just going to lower it to here. Yeah, if we lose 230, it's going a lot lower. It is, right? And I'm not here to hate. It's just, it's what the lines are showing. VLDR. Okay, nice. This one was a little bit like LIDR. I remember it kind of wanting to pop, a little bit prolonged of a drop and an extend. And then again, it looked like it wanted to pop, but then just real bad follow through. I think if the NASDAQ was just a little better, it would have really got out of this horizontal cluster and just wanted to go here, right? But unfortunately, we're not breaking out. And look, you break 1, 2, I need monster follow through, monster confirmation. I need good confirmation on one line. You better expect I need monster on 2 lines, right? So that was not good. Clearly that's not good. Hey, we're still over the 8. Hopefully tomorrow's a good bounce day, right? We kind of talked about that in the beginning of the video right here, but bad RSI. Looks like MACD is about to go into the negative. Volume's definitely real low, right? This is where the good volume was. Even on this little attempt up, the volume never spiked as much as it would have been ideal, right? So yeah, overall not looking too good. It was close, but again, this is why we don't really gamble on these clusters, right? You wait and then you make your move. Again, look, this is a little bit over the 8, but it was so close to the 20. It just goes back to, at this point, I know it sounds like you're wasting profit, but you wait till this line's broken and then go from there, right? Because trading from here to here is just a little more, it's far less of a risk reward benefit than from here to here, right? I'd love to go from here and shit even halfway up before we come down, and I'll bank some of that good profit, right? So again, use these lines as your risk reward as well, right? But yeah, overall VLDR was close, super close, but yeah, no cigar, right? 2 left. Solo, looking at Solo, damn, Solo was in the cluster, out the cluster. I don't have to say too much, right? You already know this. We're now under these 4. Are we under all 5? We're under all 5. You don't want to be under all 5. You want to be above all 5, right? Super simple. We're not quite at all-time lows just yet, but we're not that far from it, it looks like, right? So yeah, super careful here. I really don't need to say too much here. CHPT, last on the list, but definitely not least. Unfortunately, what is it doing? Look, you should already see it, right? Because as you're right here, you can kind of see the clusters up here and we're down here, which had to mean, again, just like we saw, it looked like it wanted to get out, definitely just couldn't follow through, goes back in. Unfortunately, the follow through down keeps happening, right? And now this 20 becomes our arch enemy, and what looked like a good attempt, very weak attempt, looks like we're going real far away from that 20, right? So charge point. I have spoken to so many passionate people about this one. I personally have said this one looks pretty good. It kind of looks like it moves like Tesla a little bit. I've tried to compliment it, but yeah, I really wouldn't touch this thing. And I've said it looked like it wanted to kind of come down here, and after that, you're in all-time lows, and you don't want your money in all-time lows. You know that. So I sincerely hope you're learning. Hey, I thank you so much for your time. If you subscribe or hit like, that'd be really cool. Otherwise, again, I sincerely appreciate your time.